This Chiefs Rays Bolts here. We're now on day... I don't even know the day anymore. It could be Tuesday, it could be Wednesday, it could be fucking August. I don't know. Quarantine has done a lot to me. I can't remember the last time I shaved. We are still in a world without sports. It's been about 11, maybe 12 months since the last sports game was televised in America. Honestly, it could be a lot longer than 12 months. That's just, no. What it feels like is 5 years. It feels like it's been 5 years. But realistically, it's probably been about 12 months since the last sports game. I don't know what to fucking do anymore with my life. It's been so many weeks since I uploaded a video on my channel. I can't even remember what my last video was. I'm gonna go back to bed. I'm gonna be doing what I've been doing for the last however many weeks. Check the news and see if there's any word on the return of sports. So I'll see you then. Basketball. Really? Basketball. Basketball is the first fucking sport to announce its return? Fuck this, I'm going back to bed. MLB Players Union rejects the 4th offer from the MLB. Probably not getting baseball until 2021. Shit! Shit! Hockey! There's still no set date yet, though. Whoa! Oh, wow! Oh, yeah. It's all coming together. Alright, so I'm going to go over the 4 main sports leagues, and we're going to talk about each and every one of them individually. I'll put the picture of that league right next to me here, so that way you can scroll through the video and find out when I'm talking about that specific sport. Alright, and why haven't I been on YouTube? Well, honestly, it's because you guys know all I ever talk about on this channel is sports. With no sports, I am nothing on YouTube, okay? And so I've just been completely out of the rhythm. I haven't had a single video idea, but here we are now. Here's one. Sports are coming back to life very slowly, but it will get there soon enough. But if you guys care enough to know about what I've been going through since the end of sports during this ridiculous overreaction of a time, let me know. I might make a separate video on it. We'll see. So I don't like wasting time. I like getting straight to the point. We are first going to start off with the NBA here, okay? So the NBA... Some of you may know, I don't really watch it that much. You probably know by now that I'm not really a big basketball guy. I've never made really a basketball video on this channel. I don't think I've ever have. I will definitely be interested in watching this year's playoffs. Just because we're living in such a crazy time that we're never going to see again in our lifetimes. Don't quote me on that. That's not a guarantee. But more than likely, this is probably the only time we'll ever go through something like this in our lifetime. So I'll be very interested to see how this all unfolds. So yes, I will be watching the NBA playoffs. The reason I have a Thunder logo there is because I'm a Thunder fan. Why, you may ask? I was born in Oklahoma City, that's why. NBA is coming back. They're beginning the resumption of the regular season on July 30th. As I record this video, it is July 2nd. Alright, the NBA is coming back July 30th, where they will resume the regular season somewhat. Instead of playing the remaining 15 games or whatever they had, 22 out of 30 of the teams will be playing 8 games. So 22 teams play 8 games, and it will be the traditional 16-team playoff bracket. No fans allowed, obviously. And what's really interesting about this is everybody will be playing at Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Not really. They're playing at the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex, which is owned by Disney World. It's still in Orlando, and it's an actual basketball arena. Obviously, it's nowhere near as big as an NBA arena, but it's still a basketball arena at the end of the day. So if you thought you were going to see teams just playing on a random outdoor court in the middle of Disney World, you're wrong. It's at ESPN Wide World Sports Complex, and it'll be an actual arena for basketball. But you would like to think that wouldn't that give the Orlando Magic an advantage, maybe? I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I feel like because everybody's playing in their town, they'd probably feel like they'd have an advantage, right? That's just me. I don't pay enough attention to basketball to make my prediction. I'm going to make separate videos on my way too early, technically not way too early, but my early predictions on who is going to win each major championship this year, which is going to be damn near impossible to predict because Corona screwed with every single team. Every team's going to be out of rhythm. It's just way too hard to predict a champion when teams haven't played in so long, but we're gonna go ahead and do it. For the basketball, God, who's in first place right now? As much as I'd like to see the Thunder win, basketball is so lopsided, that's why it's hard for me to watch it, because it's so predictable. It's honestly so predictable. I think the NBA champions will probably either be the Clippers, Lakers, or Bucks, or maybe Raptors again. Who knows? It's going to be a top 4 team. It's always a top team that wins it. I don't watch enough basketball. Somebody tell me when the last time a team that was like underdogs won the championship. I honestly don't know, because the Golden State Warriors won like 3 years in a row. Then before that, it was LeBron James and the Cavaliers, and then LeBron James and the Heat. Like, come on. When was the last time an underdog team actually won the championship? I don't know. So I'm going to pick either the Lakers or the Bucks. I'm gonna say the Lakers. Lakers will win the championship. Don't quote me on that. I don't know enough about basketball to make an honest prediction, but yeah, that's my prediction. Lakers are going to win the championship for the NBA Finals 2020 Disney World. All right, let's go ahead and get football out of the way here because they didn't have a season canceled or paused. This is the normal NFL offseason, so nothing has changed with the NFL. Where football stands now, they announced very recently that the preseason is shortened to just half the games. So it'll start, instead of starting like early August, it'll start like mid to late August, the preseason will. And it's kind of making me a little bit nervous that they're going to delay the start of the regular season, which they really shouldn't. I'm going to say this right here, right now. I don't care who it pisses off. The coronavirus is one of the biggest overreactions I have quite possibly ever seen in my entire life. I'm not going to get into the statistics or the details that could prove that, but come on, this is a major overreaction, folks. But I don't like talking about politics on YouTube because I don't. It could be controversial and it could make people lose respect for me, and that's I don't want that to happen to this channel, this brand. I don't want people to lose respect for me, so I'm gonna just keep it at that. I strongly believe, the coronavirus is a major overreaction. And that's it. But if it were my choice, I would happily attend a MLB game, an NFL game, any major sport game. I would happily attend one without masks and without social distancing. Because at the end of the day, I don't think of the virus as a serious issue at all. And if we're being honest here, almost everybody at some point has had it. Even if you didn't feel symptoms, almost everybody at some point has had it. I was going to make a Chiefs schedule video. I never got around to it. But basically, I'll keep this short. This is quite possibly, for me, the best Chiefs schedule ever, like the dream Chiefs schedule. They are playing in Tampa, where I live. They are playing in Miami, where they just won the Super Bowl, 5-hour drive for me. They are playing in New Orleans, which is about a 6-7 hour drive for me, so short flight, really short flight. They are playing in the brand new Las Vegas Stadium. They are playing at the brand new Los Angeles Stadium. They are opening the NFL season Thursday night and raising the Super Bowl champions banner. They're playing Thursday night in Buffalo, which is a great game. 8th game, they're playing the Patriots at Arrowhead, finally, with Cam Newton. That's going to be fun, too. All I'm saying, this is quite possibly the greatest Chiefs schedule, in my point of view at least, because I live in Florida, that I've ever seen as a Chiefs fan. And if they cancel games or play the games without fans, dude, I'm going to go into a deep state of depression because I would likely be attending 5 or more Chiefs games this year if they allow fans. So I really hope by the time it comes that we're kind of past the whole virus thing and we'll see fans at stadiums. So that's all I have on the NFL news for that matter. As of now, it's still going as scheduled, except for the fact that they canceled half of the preseason games. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about the NHL. The NHL is a little bit confusing this year. The NHL has decided, they haven't announced it formally yet, but it's pretty much determined that the 2 hub cities where teams will be playing the playoffs will be Edmonton and Toronto. So, in Canada. Toronto doesn't really make too much sense for me because it's a gigantic city. It's a huge city. People are so worried about the spreading of the virus. If you're so worried about the spreading of the virus, why are you placing a hub city in one of the largest cities in the world? Largest city in Canada. I just don't get it. If it were up to me, I would say like Edmonton and Winnipeg, 2 low-key cities that the chances of spreading the virus or players getting the virus is lower, substantially lower. Toronto just doesn't seem like, even Tampa would be a much better spot than Toronto, man. I don't even know why the NHL never considered Tampa in the first place. But those are going to be the 2 hub cities, Toronto and Edmonton. As of now, it looks like it's going to be that. The NHL wants training camps to begin July 10th, which is in a week. And they want the playoffs to begin in August. And this is where it gets confusing, because the playoffs typically last 2.5, 3 months. Which means if it starts in August, the regular season is supposed to start in September for the next season. You're going to have to postpone the start of the 2020-2021 season. So it's going to get tricky there. I think they said they want to start the next season in December. Which, I mean, there's no issue with that. What's going to happen, I'm sure you guys have all heard the plan by now. They're going to have these qualifiers where 24 teams are in the playoffs automatically. They're cutting off the rest of the regular season, unlike the NBA. They're just going to go straight into the playoffs. 7 NHL teams they're done for the season. They're done. They're not even going to play in the qualifiers or anything. 24 teams. Qualifier round is, I want to say it's a 1-game playoff, which is supposed to simulate a regular season. And I guess just whoever wins those games will move on to the regular Stanley Cup playoffs bracket. For me, it's not a big deal because the Lightning have already secured their spot in the playoffs. So the Lightning will not be playing in a qualifiers round. They will just be awaiting a winner of the qualifier round. So hopefully I'll cross my fingers they don't get swept again, or at least can make it past a round. Who knows? It would be so fitting if the Lightning ended up winning this year. It really would be. The year that everything's fucked up, they're going to win the championship. Wouldn't surprise me. The 2020 World Series. I was going to make a video about a month ago predicting that we would not get baseball this year. I'm glad I didn't make that video because, well, I would have been wrong. I had no idea they already had, signed paperwork to make a plan back in March. I didn't know about that existed. So I just kept seeing the articles. MLBPA makes an offer to the MLB. MLB rejects. MLB counteroffers. The MLBPA rejects. And so on. It would just go on. And it was just getting silly. It was honestly just getting silly. And you just think to yourself, are we really going to get baseball this year? Probably not. That's what I thought to myself at least. Not knowing that they had already agreed on a plan back in March. This MLB season is quite possibly going to be the strangest of all the sports. Spring Training 2 begins, or it's formally called Summer Camp, but otherwise known as Spring Training 2, starts July 1st, which was yesterday. And that's for just players and staff to report. That's it. On July 3rd, tomorrow, workouts and baseball activities can begin within the players. They can begin workouts and all that stuff. So they can get back into the groove with each other. Teams can play up to 3 spring training games against each other. The teams will schedule against other teams themselves. The MLB won't be scheduling that. It'll be up to the teams to decide what's going to happen. But teams can play up to 3 exhibition spring training games before the start of the season. The season is to start on either July 23rd or July 24th. Here's where it gets interesting. They announced that the players are not allowed to spit. They're not allowed to high-five each other. Again, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. But it's going to be an interesting baseball season. Another interesting point of view. Instead of 162 games, it's going to be 60 games. Just 60. How's the scheduling going to work out? Here's how it is. 40 games out of those 60 will be played against division opponents. The other 20 games will be played against the other geographical divisions teams, if that makes sense. So, for example, it would be AL East, NL East, NL Central, AL Central, NL West, AL West. So that's what's going to happen. Because they want to avoid, the Dodgers traveling all the way to Miami. Because that's a long-ass flight. So it makes sense that they would do that. They're adding some interesting rules for this season exclusively. The designated hitter is going to be universal, National League and American League. This is something that should have been done years ago. And quite frankly, I think this is something that's going to be done very soon in the MLB. I think very few people actually enjoy seeing pitchers bat. Because imagine this. You're down a run early in the game. You got the bases loaded. You have an opportunity to blow up the game, all right? But you got 2 outs. Now your pitcher's got to come up and bat. You're just just get him out already, man. Because it's very rarely when you actually see a pitcher get on base or get a hit or anything. It's very rarely when you see a pitcher do that. So I think for a lot of fans, it's just seriously, why do pitchers bat? This is ridiculous. And that's the way I see it being an American League fan because I'm so used to the designated hitter. I think the designated hitter is a lot more entertaining than seeing a pitcher bat. So for this season, they are going to implement the universal designated hitter. I think they're going to go back to normal in 2021, but I think in 2022, they want to make it a normal thing to have the universal DH, and that's a great thing. They should definitely do that. Here's where a lot of baseball fans are disagreeing, all right? So for this season only, if a game is to go into extra innings, the teams will begin the inning with a player on second base. Now, you can take that however you want. Personally, I accept it only because this is a strange season. It's not going to be like any other we've ever seen in our lives before. It's a one-time deal, really. I don't see them implementing this rule at all in the future. So just for this whack, crazy season, just allow it. That's the way I see it. But a lot of fans are disappointed that they're doing this. But you know what? It quickens games. I'm not opposed to it. And oh my god, I never said who I thought was going to win the other leagues. All right, so let's go with this. The NHL is already impossible to predict the way it is, even if the regular season would have gone as scheduled. So I'm just going to put a crazy wild guess out there. Arizona Coyotes. Arizona Coyotes. I'm just going to say that. For the NFL, It's hard to bet against the Chiefs, but that would be biased because I'm a Chiefs fan. So, not the Patriots, not the Buccaneers. They're overhyped. Not the Ravens either. I don't see Lamar Jackson being Super Bowl worthy. The Saints. I'm going to say the Saints win the Super Bowl. For the MLB, 60 games. 60 games, I think, is a lot more critical than 162 games, obviously. I think, in a way, 60 games benefits the small market teams. It's going to make the baseball season a lot more interesting. Because think about this. When your football team loses a game, you start freaking out, and you start questioning whether you're going to make the playoffs. Because of one game. It's not like that in baseball. Your team loses a baseball game, you're like, all right, whatever, see you tomorrow. But for 60 games, it's going to be a lot more critical. It's going to feel a lot more like the football season, where if you lose a game, you're like, well, shit. So I think it's going to be really interesting. A side note here, because of the divisional geographical location schedule, the NL West will be playing the ALS, which means the Dodgers, who were robbed out of a World Series against the Astros, will be playing the Astros a bunch of times this year. And I cannot wait to see the Dodgers pitchers absolutely peg the Astros batters. Specifically Jose Altuve, George Springer, and Alex Bregman. I don't care how long I have to wait for the Astros to come to the Trop, but when they do come to the Trop, which will be 2021, sometime in 2021, when that happens, don't you think we're going to forget about what you did to us in the playoffs, man? And then it comes out that you guys are fucking cheaters? I am hassling the fuck out of y'all at the Trop. I don't give a fuck. This is going to end this long-ass video, but this is kind of my, it's kind of like my sequel to A World Without Sports. So let me know what you think. Give me your predictions. Let me know how you feel about this year in sports. And if everything goes as planned, the first sport to return will be baseball, and that is in 3 weeks. So we're getting close to the return of sports, ladies and gentlemen. It's very exciting. A lot of us will be depression-free. So that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching this one. It's your boy, Chief Straight Bolts. Peace out.